So please welcome Anuradha. Uh, Thank you so much for joining today and presenting us Chaitanya Charitamrita in a nutshell. And also following that, we will be having discussion with His Grace Pran Govinda Prabhu. So I request everybody to mute their mics so that we can pay attention to Anuradha's presentation. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Can everyone see the screen?
Yes, it's nice. Can you make it like a full screen or a slideshow style or something?
You can't see the full screen?
We see that little next slide also next to it.
Oh, give me 1 second.
Okay. That's better. Thank you.
Oh, 1 second.
No, no problem. Take your time.
Now can everyone see the full screen?
Yes.
Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanasahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopeshar Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before I start, I just want to thank Pran Govinda Prabhu and Gopal Radha Prabhu for this opportunity. I am not fit to talk about the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but I'm very grateful for this opportunity. So please forgive me if I commit any offenses or make any mistakes. Today we will be talking about appreciation and correction, covering the beginning of Antya Lila. So we're going to be covering the beginning of Antya Lila, which encapsulates chapters 1 through 13. So for appreciation, we're going to go over Shri Chaitanya returned to Puri and he taught Vaishnava culture through his daily interactions, and he shows great appreciation for devotees who embody humility, surrender, renunciation, and unshakable faith. And upon arriving in Puri, he took up residence in Kashi Mishra's house, where he was surrounded by his followers, and he expressed great appreciation for their qualities. The devotee's spotless example establishes the ideals of Vaishnava culture and etiquette. So first, we're going to talk about Rupa Goswami and his qualities of humility and empowerment. So basically, Rupa Goswami traveled to Puri to see Shri Chaitanya and receive instructions on a drama about Krishna's pastimes. And the Lord told him to make sure that when he writes the drama, to separate Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan from Krishna's pastimes in Dvaraka. So Rupa Goswami wrote 2 separate scriptures titled Lalita Madhava for Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan and Vidagdha Madhava for Krishna's pastimes in Dvaraka. And when the Lord happened to see the verses that Rupa Goswami wrote for Vidagdha Madhava, he was very overjoyed. And the next day he brought all his associates and they all kind of asked Rupa Goswami if he could please share what he wrote, but he was very shy and very insistent on not saying it because he didn't feel qualified enough. But after much persuasion, he expressed what he wrote and they were all very happy. So that just shows how much humility Rupa Goswami had. And for empowerment, once Rupa Goswami was able to see Shri Chaitanya dancing and overjoyed during Rath Yatra, so he wrote a verse that described the Lord's feelings. And when the Lord saw that, he lovingly reprimanded Rupa Goswami, which empowered him to continue writing verses that described Shri Chaitanya's innermost feelings. Next, we're going to talk about Pradyumna Brahmachari and his qualities of devotion. I really like this pastime. When I learned about it, it was really sweet. So I'm happy to share this with you all. So first, pure devotion attracts the Lord's attention, and Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always appeared in 4 places. The first was the household temple of Mother Sachi, and the second is wherever Shri Nityananda Prabhu danced. The third is the house of Shrivash Pandit during congregational chanting, and the fourth is Raghava Pandit's house. So basically, whenever the Lord appeared, he appeared because he was attracted by the love of his devotees. So in the case of Pradyumna Brahmachari, who was also known as Nrsimha Nanda Brahmachari. So the pastime goes like this. All the devotees in Bengal were waiting for the Lord to arrive because Shri Chaitanya had promised that he would visit them that year. But seeing no sign of the Lord, they became very anxious. And to comfort all the devotees, Pradyumna Brahmachari declared, I can bring the Lord here in 3 days. So he cooked a grand feast and he prepared 3 plates, one for Lord Jagannath, one for Shri Chaitanya, and one for Lord Nrsimhadev. And then right after he prepared the plates, he began to intensely meditate in pure devotion and petition the Lord to come. And the Lord was naturally just attracted to Pradyumna's devotion, and Shri Chaitanya personally appeared and ate all 3 plates as shown in the picture. Next, we're talking about Haridas Thakur and pure chanting. There are several pastimes of Haridas Thakur chanting with pure devotion, not being distracted by anything, but I'll just focus on the one that's shown in the picture. So once Haridas Thakur was chanting in a cave, and all of a sudden this woman appears, and she tries to seduce him, but Haridas Thakur just kept chanting. He didn't pay her any attention, but the woman tried for 3 whole days and failed. And at the end, she showed herself as Mayadevi. And she said, I came to test your spiritual resolve. So, and then there was also the incident where Shri Chaitanya had asked, how would we deliver the fallen souls? But Haridas Thakur had told him that he had implicit faith that the holy name would spread throughout the universe and transform everyone. And that even a glimpse of sincere chanting, Namavash, is enough to qualify for liberation. which he said was an insignificant side benefit of spiritual perfection. So now we're going to talk about Sanatana Goswami and his qualities of surrender and Vaishnava etiquette. So Sanatana Goswami had contracted a skin disease when he was traveling to Puri, and he considered himself physically infirm, spiritually fallen, and unfit to render spiritual service. So he decided to give up his life. But when he came to Puri, he met with the Lord, who had embraced his diseased body and told him about his brother passing away. And as the Lord spoke to Sanatana Goswami, he realized that Sanatana Goswami was planning to give up his life. And the Lord had instructed him, you cannot do such a thing, that since you are now a surrendered devotee, your body belongs to me, and I have many plans for you to carry out. So Sanatana Goswami happily accepted the role and offered himself as a wooden doll in the Lord's loving service. So that was his quality of surrender. And for Vaishnava etiquette, one day Shri Chaitanya had invited Sanatana Goswami to take prasadam, and to go get prasadam, he had to travel through Puri. So Sanatana Goswami, he went a different route, and it was a very hot day, so he traveled barefoot on the beach, and he got severe blisters on his feet. But he deliberately took this route so he can avoid the servants of Jagannath, who could have gotten contaminated by his skin disease. So when Shri Chaitanya realized this, he commended Sanatana for his etiquette and ideal behavior. And Shri Chaitanya had extolled the glories of Sanatana, and he personally embraced him, and he caused this skin disease to immediately disappear. Now we'll talk about Raghunath Das Goswami and his qualities of renunciation. So Raghunath Das Goswami, in his youth, he went to Shantipur to express his desire to the Lord about renunciating from all worldly attachments. But the Lord told him to return home and be patient. And on several occasions, Raghunath Das Goswami had tried to run away from home because he didn't want to deal with material affairs. And every single attempt, he failed. And it became so common that it happened every day. He tried to run away from home every single day, which made his father conclude that Raghunath was determined to become a renunciant. So once at Panihati, Raghunath had met with Nityananda Prabhu, and he expressed his desires of renunciation. And Nityananda Prabhu had comforted him and told him, just go back home, your time will come soon to serve the Lord. So he went home, and he came up with another plan to escape, and this time he succeeded. So as soon as he succeeded, he went to Puri to see the Lord, and he embraced him, and the Lord had placed Raghunath Das Goswami under Sarva Damodar's guidance. Next, we have Gopinath and Vaninath for their qualities of remembering Krishna. So Gopinath and Vaninath were brothers of Ramananda Rai, and they were both facing the death penalty because they misappropriated government funds. And hearing this news, many devotees had pleaded to the Lord to help, but Shri Chaitanya said that as a sannyasi, he could not interfere in such governmental affairs. So everyone thought that Gopinath and Vaninath's fate was sealed, that they were going to die. But since they kept chanting the holy name and they remembered Krishna, they were able to escape their death. And they also realized that the ultimate goal was to achieve Krishna Prema. When Shri Chaitanya heard of how they escaped their death, he was very pleased, and he instructed them to fulfill their duty perfectly and to simultaneously remember Krishna at all times. Now we'll talk about Govinda and his qualities of service attitude. I really like this pastime too. So one day, Sri Chaitanya had engaged everyone in congregational chanting and dancing at Narendra Sarovar, and the Lord danced the longest. Like, he kept dancing, and then he saw that everyone was tired, so he eventually stopped. And after dancing and chanting, everyone took prasad, and then Sri Chaitanya rested in the doorway of Gambhira. So every day after the Lord finishes his prasadam, his servant Govinda would come to massage his feet and accept the remnants of prasad left over by the Lord. But on this occasion, Govinda could not get into the room because Sri Chaitanya was blocking the entranceway. So Govinda kept asking and requesting the Lord to move to one side, but Sri Chaitanya flatly refused. Govinda then reluctantly stepped over Sri Chaitanya's body, which is a serious breach of etiquette. But after he did, he proceeded to massage the Lord's legs, and he patiently waited until Sri Chaitanya woke up. And when the Lord woke up, he asked Govinda, "Why hadn't you taken prasad?" Govinda had replied that the Lord was blocking the door and he couldn't get to the prasad. And although Govinda had stepped over Sri Chaitanya's body for the purpose of service, he refused to step over the Lord's body for his own ends. Now we will talk about Jagadananda Pandit and his qualities of spontaneous love. I really enjoyed this pastime. I could really understand and sympathize with Jagadanand on his feelings. So Jagadanand had inappropriately instructed Sanatan Goswami once, which angered Sri Chaitanya, and Sri Chaitanya had him sent away from Puri. But within a year, Jagadanand returned with a gift of scented oil for the Lord. But since Sri Chaitanya was a strict sannyas, he could not accept such a gift, and he instructed Jagadanand, use this scented oil for the service of Lord Jagannath. However, like several devotees, including Govinda, requested the Lord, please reconsider using the scented oil for yourself, which irritated Sri Chaitanya. And then Jagadanand got very angry. So when he heard such news, and he broke the pot of oil, and then he went and locked himself up in his room. He was very angry. So Sri Chaitanya, to calm and pacify Jagadanand, he requested him to cook a feast, which Jagadanand graciously prepared and served with enthusiasm. And the Lord had 10 times the normal amount of prasad. And then on another event, Jagadanand had made the Lord a quilt and a pillow, but the Lord had refused to use it because it would not befit a sannyasi. However, Sri Chaitanya had accepted a pillow made by Saurabh Damodar. This made Jagadanand even more angry. So Jagadanand personally requested the Lord permission to leave Puri. And although Jagadanand was upset, the Lord relished these loving interactions because they were free from reverence and formality. So he requested Jagadanand to stay, but later he gave consent. So Jagadanand had traveled to Vrindavan, and he spent 2 months with Sanatan Goswami. And when he returned later to Jagannath Puri, he brought with him even more gifts. So the cycle just continued. Now we will talk about Raghunath Bhatta Goswami and his qualities of following instructions. So Raghunath Bhatta had met Sri Chaitanya, and the Lord had offered him a series of instructions. Care for your elderly parents, but remain unmarried. Study the Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure Vaishnava, and return to Jagannath Puri after fulfilling all familial duties, so that he can fully dedicate himself to the Lord. So Raghunath had followed these orders, and when his parents passed away, he immediately returned to Jagannath Puri. And the Lord was so pleased seeing him, he spent 8 months with him and instructed him further. So Shri Chaitanya had told him to go to Vrindavan and assist Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, and to continuously chant Hare Krishna and recite Srimad Bhagavatam. And upon these instructions, Raghunath had left for Vrindavan, where he became renowned for his recitations of Srimad Bhagavatam. When Raghunath Bhatta Goswami would recite verses from the Srimad Bhagavatam, he felt immense spiritual ecstasy. And this was all possible due to Shri Chaitanya's mercy, and it demonstrates the power of following instructions given by spiritual authorities. So why does it matter? Why does any of this matter? So in most endeavors, we have a goal, a process, and a culture. A great example would be an athlete who wants to win gold in the Olympics. So that would be his goal to win the gold. And to win gold, he would have to undergo a process. So in this case, his process would be rigorous training, where he would condition his body. And alongside undergoing the process, he would also have to follow a culture, such as a strict lifestyle choice. He would have to make strict lifestyle choices. He would have to limit his diet. He would have to control his sleeping. He would have to make sure that he exercises at the right times. And basically, if you only have the goal and you do the process, but you don't follow the culture, you will never reach your goal. And if the athlete did his rigorous training and had the goal, like, yes, I'm going to win gold, but he didn't follow his diet, he didn't sleep adequate amounts, then he wouldn't reach his goal. Similarly, if one diligently engages in spiritual practices, but doesn't strictly follow the culture, their spiritual growth gets stunted. So in Shri Chaitanya's interactions in Jagannath Puri, they remind us that a Vaishnava isn't simply characterized by what he does, but also by who he is. If we nurture the proper qualities and manner, our heart can become a fertile place for the creeper of devotion to grow. Vaishnava qualities are not a byproduct of pure devotion. They don't just appear. They must be consciously developed. So now we're going into the second part of the presentation, correction. Shri Chaitanya further established spiritual culture by correcting devotees, and he highlights the dangers of fault-finding, philosophical deviation, and inappropriate association. So Haridas Thakur, we're going to talk about Haridas Thakur and the inappropriate association. So Haridas Thakur, one day the Lord had requested Chota Haridas to obtain some rice. And Chota Haridas had went to Madhavi Devi, who was an elderly, respected devotee. And when he gave the rice to the Lord immediately questioned him, "Where did you get this rice?" And when he found out that Chota Haridas had gotten the rice from a lady, he got upset and he banished him, because this deviated from the principles of sannyas. So Chota Haridas was very upset. He fasted for 3 whole days. And when the devotees heard, they pleaded the Lord to reconsider his punishment. But Shri Chaitanya was firm. He said, no, this was the appropriate punishment for Chota Haridas. So when Haridas heard, he was very upset. The devotees had tried comforting him, saying this was the appropriate punishment that was given by the Lord. But upon hearing this news, Chota Haridas eventually gave his life by drowning himself in Prayag. However, unknown to the devotees, Haridas had received a spiritual body and had the great fortune of associating with and receiving the mercy of Shri Chaitanya. So, dangers of Mayavadi philosophy, Bhagavan Acharya and Bengali poet. So Bhagavan Acharya would regularly invite the Lord for prasadam in Puri. So once Bhagavan Acharya suggested that his brother Gopal Bhattacharya's commentary on the Vedanta philosophy was worth studying. But Saurabh Damodar had corrected him because Gopal studied the Vedanta philosophy in the impersonal interpretation. And Shri Chaitanya had repeatedly denounced Mayavadi philosophy, saying that hearing such commentary would confuse devotees. And on a separate occasion, once a Brahmana requested the Lord to hear his poetic compositions, but before the poems could be given to the Lord, Swarup Damodar would inspect them to make sure that everything aligned with the scriptures. And after he read the first verse, Swarup Damodar discovered that the poet had made a distinction between the body and the soul of the Lord, and this indicated Mayavadi philosophy and was a grave offense. So Swarup Damodar advised the Brahmana to avoid such misunderstandings by learning the Srimad Bhagavatam from a Vaishnava. And to console the Brahmana, Swarup Damodar gave an alternative version of his poem to the Lord, and thus humbled, the Bengali poet took full shelter of Shri Chaitanya. Criticism and fault finding, Damodar Pandit and Ramachandra Puri. So, Shri Chaitanya would give audience to the little boy whose father had died, and this greatly annoyed Damodar Pandit. He criticized the Lord, saying that it wasn't proper for a sannyasi to spend so much time with the son of a young widow. Although Shri Chaitanya appreciated his straightforwardness, he had ordered Damodar Pandit to leave Jagannath Puri and to go to Navadvip and look after Sachimata. Damodar was a great devotee, but it was not his position to advise the spiritual master, who was Krishna himself. So Ramachandra Puri and Ishwara Puri were both disciples of Madhavendra Puri. While Ishwara Puri had maintained his proper mode of service and submission, Ramachandra Puri had began criticizing and instructing his spiritual master. This offensive mentality had destroyed his character and caused his spiritual downfall. So once Ramachandra Puri saw a trail of ants in the home of Shri Chaitanya, and he accused the Lord of eating too many sweets. Now, although Ramachandra Puri had no evidence to make such claims, the Lord had humbly reduced his portion of sweets to half, out of respect for Ramachandra Puri. Since the Lord cut down on his portion, his dear devotees had pleaded him and asked him to resume his regular eating habits. But Shri Chaitanya had demonstrated how a humble Vaishnava can use criticisms to improve. Ramachandra Puri, however, continued criticizing the Lord, and because of this, he was forced to leave Jagannath Puri, and he was deprived of Shri Chaitanya's priceless association forever. Superficial discrimination, Pradyumna Mishra. So once Pradyumna Mishra had approached the Lord with the desire to hear about Krishna's pastimes, and the Lord redirected him to Ramananda Rai, who he claimed was extremely qualified. So when Pradyumna had visited Ramananda Rai, he found him massaging the body of young girls, and he assumed that he was engaging in immodest acts. So he was shocked and bewildered, and he quickly left the house before he could make any further conversation with Ramananda Rai. And the following day, Shri Chaitanya had saw Pradyumna, and he detected his bewilderment. Shri Chaitanya then began to glorify Ramananda and explained that Ramananda Rai was teaching the girls to sing and dance for the pleasure of Lord Jagannath. And Shri Chaitanya had reasoned that since Ramananda Rai was only focused on his service to Lord Jagannath, he was not committing any immodest acts. Pradyumna then later approached Ramananda Rai with a new mindset, and he eagerly requested him to narrate Krishna's pastimes. So on the superficial level, Pradyumna was a highly qualified Brahmana, whereas Ramananda Rai was an ordinary Grihastha Sudra. Shri Chaitanya wanted to highlight that advancement is based on internal realization rather than superficial indication. Respecting teachers, Mayavada Bhatta. So once Mayavada Bhatta began glorifying Shri Chaitanya for delivering so many fallen souls. Shri Chaitanya responded by glorifying his own associates and explaining the things that he learned from each of them. And he did this on purpose to break Vallabha's pride. So one day, Vallabha claimed to have refuted Sridhar Swami's legendary commentary, and the Lord outright corrected him for his unfaithfulness toward the parampara. And luckily, this made Vallabha realize his grave mistake, and he surrendered unto the Lord. So why does it all matter? Daily practices like chanting, devotional service, deity worship are known as sadhana, and this literally means eternal wealth. So whenever we associate with Vaishnavas or participate in Krishna conscious activities, we're drawn into more spiritual activities. In this way, we earn considerable spiritual credit without even realizing it. However, we waste this wealth through negligence and insensitivity. By criticizing others on their etiquette, improper conduct, we squander our spiritual wealth and stunt our spiritual growth. So, if we follow the basic spiritual practices, we can avoid such blasphemous acts and enrich ourselves in Krishna Prema. Sri Chaitanya compares the gradual development of unalloyed love to the different stages of sugar. First, when sugar is made, sugarcane is grown from seeds, and then the sugarcane juice is extracted. This juice is then boiled into a liquid molasses, and it slowly hardens and becomes sugar. So similarly, our love for Krishna evolves through various stages of development, and each stage is more concentrated than the last. So in order to taste this sweet love, one must be vigilant and attentive in the cultivation of their devotional creeper.
That's it, Anuradha? Yeah, we can't hear you.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Okay, Anuradha is very, very scholarly, but she
No.
also is very, very shy. She she's telling me she is so nervous, which we can all see how wonderfully she is prepared, how scholarly she has prepared this whole thing. She is one of our most studious and high-ranking academic students from New Orleans youth. So, Pran Govinda Prabhu, please shower your blessings. I see already Radhacharan Prabhu said, so wonderful to hear Krishna Katha, which helped to learn, understand, realize Krishna consciousness. So, thank you. So, he's already showered his blessings. Pran Govinda Prabhu, Haribol. You can unmute Pran Govinda Prabhu? Yes.
I'm unmuted. Am I audible? Okay. Mother Anuradha, please accept my humble obeisances. I did not know there is so many wonderful advanced devotees in New Orleans. They are all wonderful. Mother Anuradha, Mother Brinda, and Mother Gaurangi, Jishnu Prabhu, and Mother Vishnu Priya. I mean, each of you are like such a wonderful, thoughtful. I cannot believe this. All live in one city. You should be taking over each country here, each of you, and spread Krishna consciousness. I'm so happy. Thank you. That was wonderful. When I come, I will see you because I would like to meet all those great souls. What I thought this morning, because while I was preparing this morning a little bit, just what we're going to speak, she already covered everything so wonderfully. I mean, she could go on another half an hour and finished the whole subject matter. It's wonderful. Thank you. I really appreciate. I hope your parents and your brother, sister, whoever they are, I don't know exactly your family. I hope they recognize they have a great soul in their family. And I hope all the devotees are also recognizing that you are there. Wonderful. So in the beginning, according to her slides, I'm going, in the beginning, the Rupa Goswami Path's great quality is given. Something generally we don't talk so much about Rupa Goswami Paths, because his contribution is so much that he revealed what Mahaprabhu came to give. Who is Mahaprabhu was not so much of Rupa Goswami Path's sambandha relation, but what Mahaprabhu came to give, Rupa Goswami Path gave. And to receive and to share, he has demonstrated beautiful qualities. Rupa Goswami Path's one quality is he's a super humble. Generally, you don't think like that. I mean, I don't think like that until recently I was researching a little more. That when Mahaprabhu was literally established Rupa Goswami Path's position as Shri Chaitanya Mano Vista Stapitam Jena Bhutale. Who knows the heart of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Rupa Goswami. Does not say any other. And you can see Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada says, who is supervising the ISKCON society? Prabhupada did not say, I am doing. He said, this Krishna consciousness movement is directly under the supervision of Sri Rupa Goswami. And I thought about it, why Prabhupada is giving so much credit to Rupa Goswami Path, not taking any credit for himself? Because Prabhupada is also super humble. So Rupa Goswami Path super humble, in a sense, many incidents. One incident was when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was really revealing all the devotees that, do you know what Rupa Goswami wrote about the secret confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna? All the devotees says, yes, we want to know. He said, come. So they all gathered together. And Mahaprabhu called Rupa Goswami Path, please come. But Rupa Goswami Path saw that showing off, even though he actually has a treasure, but how to present this in a proper mood. He said, oh no, I cannot sit with them. He said, why? He said, they are all exalted associate of you. I'm just a simple servant. Mahaprabhu says, no, you come here and sit in front of all of us. You are going to give us nectar. Say, oh no, I'm a servant. I'm not going to. Sounds like one of you, New Orleans devotee, like Mother Vishnupriya or Mother Anuradha or Gaurangi. I can see they act like this sometimes. They're so humble. It's so nice. Even Jishnu Prabhu also. So Rupa Goswami Path, so this is okay because Rupa Goswami Path does the same thing. So Rupa Goswami Path actually did not come and sit down. Then Mahaprabhu accepted, and Mahaprabhu actually glorified him more. Said, so humble, super humble, Mahaprabhu said, that he wants to stay at the feet of all those Vaishnavas, and still we can get the relishment what he has contributed. So this is Rupa Goswami Path's super humbleness. We learn from this part of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yesterday I was mentioning how Rupa Goswami Path is well cultured. I hope everybody remembers. Well cultured means you should have always mentor. Wait, Prabhu, I am a guru now. I'm the top of the society, top amongst all my girlfriend, boyfriend. No, still in spiritual life, you should always have a mentor. Rupa Goswami Path exhibiting a culture that doesn't matter how much he got recognized, he still has to consult with his guru, or he accepted Sanatana Goswami Path as his mentor. And every writings, has to be counseled by Sanatana Goswami Pad. This was another culture, beautiful. Even in explanation of Padavali, I mentioned, explanation of Vidagdha Madhav, Lalit Madhav, Damodar Murti, how he trained Jiva Goswami Pad. These are the beautiful explanation of Rupa Goswami Pad as a perfect, ideal teacher. I would say Prabhupada used the word servant. What did he say? Prabhupada writing, he says servant master or guru servant teacher or servant master. I forgot exact word Prabhupada used. It's a perfect word will be a servant master or servant guru, something Prabhupada says. And Prabhupada acted like this. If you see that in the beginning, he cooked, he cleaned, he fed everybody, and then he taught them. So he's a teacher at the same time, he's a servant. And it's wonderful. This is how Rupa Goswami Pad is seen. Now, I made one also interesting point I found. Yesterday I mentioned, maybe not, if our faith, our believing Chaitanya Charitamrita or this process is attacked internally or externally, what should we do? This is Rupa Goswami Pad's a very, very wonderful explanation relevant to our life. And I hope everybody remembers this. The approaches are different for both. Internal doubts can be dealt by going to devotees who knows the subject. Everybody understanding this point? This is important because doubt will come. You may not believe everything Prabhupada says or Mahaprabhu says, or because the nature of this world creates doubt due to our anarthas. So Rupa Goswami Pada answered, we have to learn which kind of devotee can address which kind of doubts. Not that every devotee is for everything. If you ask Vasudev Datta, he was a wonderful devotee. Mahaprabhu says he has a right to sell me to anyone, anytime, anywhere. I'm sold by him. Wow. But guess what? He needed the help from the community. Even a devotee is advanced in Alachua or in New Orleans or Baton Rouge, you still need help from the community. Mahaprabhu is such an ideal example that he calls Shivananda Sen. He said Vasudev Datta is very advanced. Mahaprabhu himself declared like this, but he needs help from you. You need to help him. This is called a cooperation, community feeling. We need each other. This is a wonderful explanation Rupa Goswami Pad, through this explanation he gave, that if we are analytical, then we need the association of a devotee who is analytical. If we are culturally oriented, we need the association of someone who is also culturally oriented. Basically, we need spiritual guides and mentors who understand our mind and help. Mother Anuradha explained about Raghunath Das Goswami so well. I love that. So wonderful. Something I will not give much more because of the time, and it doesn't require. She did a wonderful job. Something about Pradyumna Brahmachari explanation given. There I found something we can be touched to relevant to our life where we are. Now what you have explained is wonderful. And I wish you could go on for whole life like that, you know, researching and bringing the key point, bullet point, and elaborate on that. And bring the reference also, the pastimes also, very nice. What we can learn from also here, the appreciation we get for our service. You know, when you go to temple, you do some service, Shraddha Prabhu or somebody asking you to do something, that we also get appreciation. You know, he appreciate, or Gopal Radhe Prabhu appreciate, or your parents appreciate. The appreciation we get for our service is not as consequential as the absorption we get in our service. We should focus on that. Otherwise, we will, after some time, we may feel dry. I think I'm done with Krishna consciousness. Even you will feel like that. Because there is a key point to focus in this Pradyumna Brahmachari. I noticed that whenever we do anything, we usually have a various level of motivation, isn't it? For doing anything or that thing, particular things. And depending on how deep or substantial a motivation is, we persevere in that activity when we face obstacles. The same principle applies in our practice of bhakti also, or daily sadhana. We often want a sense of acceptability and respectability in our community. If I come to New Orleans, did Gopal Radhe Prabhu respected me? I didn't think that way, but I can see that my mind is demanding that. Did he notice that I'm here? Did he come and give me a hug? Gopal Radhe Prabhu, you did that. I'm not accusing anything. Please don't take it wrong way. But my mind, our mind may not, ignite in us. I did so much service, nobody even cared. These things pops in us. And I'm not saying this is good or bad, but what we need to focus, if our community is pious or spiritual, the kind of services we do therein determines our stature. So we may do services to gain appreciation. Such appreciation is not always a craving of the ego. This is another point. It can also be a basic human needs for reciprocation, isn't it? Oh, thank you for giving me some water. What is harm to say that? It is a basic human reciprocation. Wherein we do something for someone, naturally expect them to speak a few words, recognizing that we have done. Still, because of the unpredictable nature of the world, dear Prabhus and mothers, sometimes our service may not produce results noteworthy enough to be appreciated. Or you can say because everyone goes through their own moods and issues, they may not appreciate us. Even if we do something worth appreciating. Yesterday, one family, Mother Vishnupriya's parents, they were like so eager to give us some prasadam, and they went extra mile to do this. And I felt bad, really, like how much they really care for giving us some prasadam. Of course, we had a 10 hours drive. But I really felt like did not appreciate enough, even though I called and thanked them, but still, I was like, why they took so much struggle to drive 1 hour, car broke down, their car broke down. Then again coming and then car fixing, going back, it was raining like horrible. But still, I was praying for them because I could not appreciate enough. So we can do many things from these pastimes, like how we can advance and using those examples in our own life. That's why if appreciation from others remain our sole motive for doing service, even though they did not ask for any appreciation, but our bhakti practice will soon become erratic and sporadic, believe or not. To develop a steadier and deeper motivation, we need to understand that our ultimate purpose in practicing bhakti is to connect with Krishna. That focus should be remembered. And that connection, why? Because that connection actually comes in the most enriching and fulfilling way through absorption in Krishna. So indeed, our mind and intelligence are absorbed in Him. then we all, or each of us, will attain him at the end of our life. And not only that, we are already living in him. Krishna says, by thinking of him, we live in him. 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita 12.8. Our elevation to his abode is just a matter of time. So if we get absorption in a service, that is itself a great treasure that we need to cherish. Because such absorption will keep us with Krishna for how long, Prabhu and mothers? How long? Now and forever. So right now we are discussing about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We need to absorb in Mahaprabhu. This whole discussion, whole session is nothing but absorption in Mahaprabhu. Otherwise, we will be looking for recognition. So this is the one thing I learned from this wonderful explanation of Haridas Thakur's pastimes, also his pastimes. Now, Haridas Thakur's pastimes, there is so much. It's interesting. Gopal Radhe Prabhu sent me something last month or somewhere about Loknath Maharaj's on Sattila Ekadashi about Haridas Thakur's. I think you should send it to the group. Everybody can focus on that. It's wonderful. Haridas Thakur's life, how he took shelter of the holy name and placed the holy name before anything and everything, whether it's a challenges, good or bad. When prostitute proposed, she was beautiful, and Prabhupada make it even dramatic. I know I was hearing Prabhupada's lecture. He said, middle of the dead night, he is a young man, she was a beautiful young girl. Prabhupada is like creating a scenery, like most beautiful, attractive scenery every man and woman in this world wants. But what did Haridas Thakur do? He placed holy name in that scenery. Then again, Mayadevi's proposal, illusion. What did Haridas Thakur do? He was not afraid or anything. He just placed the holy name in front. We can learn a lot from Haridas Thakur's, this Antolila, the power of holy name. What is that? All this Haridas Thakur that went through, it happened in our life too. There was a snake. The fear of snake was living in the same cave. Haridas Thakur placed the holy name in front. When Kaji was giving a big objection, sometimes in our community, some people don't appreciate our service or anything. They may even criticize, or what do? Chant more, name and pray for them. This is what Haridas Thakur did. He was beaten in 22 market. What did he do? He was taking shelter of the holy name, and Mahaprabhu took his pain. Then what happened? What happened to this? Oh. Is Zoom is okay, Gopal Radhe Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Sorry.
So then, when he was beaten in 22 market, when he was thrown in jail, when he was honoring Jagannath Prasadam, not like a good time or bad time, even honoring Jagannath Prasadam, what did he do? He glorified the holy name. And he was saying that if he cannot finish his holy name, but he did not want to disrespect the Prasadam. How he reconciled both? We should never disrespect the Prasadam. At the same time, I have a disease, I cannot finish my chanting. This is what he told to Mahaprabhu. But through the holy name, he reconciled both. Hot, scorching sun, then sickness, old age and disease, then Lord's own permission. He wanted to depart from this world. In all these cases, what a wonderful that he took shelter of holy name. We can learn this from Haridas Thakur. I'm not going to elaborate the whole pastime again because Mother Honorada did such a wonderful service. She's a She is an object of my respect. She, such a wonderful way she expressed. Now we come to Sanatana Goswami. I already discussed enough, I think, yesterday. Actually, I didn't even notice some of the topics that today's subject. I already hint yesterday, but I'll mention just to remind. When you feel sometime amongst us, sometime debates, conflict amongst devotees, between devotees, you never heard such thing? Anybody ever heard that amongst the devotees there is a debate, amongst the devotees there is a conflict? What should we do in that situation? I learned from Sanatana Goswami, or I'm learning, I'm applying now. He said, you do, these are the following things. He said, we need not be disturbed by the presence of conflicts. Why? Because we are individuals having individual inspiration about how to serve Krishna. So conflicts will be always there. I like that. This is so true. Then second point he made, usually conflicts are not about principles. Please remember this. Conflicts are not about principles. They are about preferences. Now I remember one temple president said he had a little problem with some devotee and this, that. And now I apply that, and I was talking to him today. I said, how did it work out? Do you think like this? He's not actually talking about principle. He loves Prabhupada, you love Prabhupada. We believe in Krishna. Nothing about principle. What is the conflict between you and him? Is the preference. He wants to serve in this way, you want to serve in this way. Now you have to find the mutual, both can be done. But principle, we are not conflict. It's not like he believes someone so and so is God and I believe Krishna is God. No, not conflict on that. So essential principle, there are 10 principles. If we have time, I will discuss. We never have a conflict. What conflict we have is our individual preferences. That is why it is not a major issue, Prabhus and mothers. It is not a major issue. If we feel strongly about a particular issue, then we may get involved. Otherwise, we should focus on our Krishna consciousness practice. And we don't let ourselves get distracted or consumed by those conflicts or debates. This is very important. Another things also I found from Sanatana Goswami Path's, this section, a hint is given, and I was just finding a Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur comments on it, that how autobiographical writing of a devotees or community, how? Now, why I'm bringing that? Because you all are wonderful Vaishnava and Vaishnavis. Sometimes we think that, well, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, all this beautiful character, beautiful divine quality of the devotees, associates, those are all nice. You know, Diary of Traveling Monk by Indradurna Maharaj. I'm looking at that book, right here I have. It's a wonderful. Lost and Found in India by Braja Sevika Devi Dasi. So many books are there. Urban Monk by Gadadhar Prabhu. So many. So I had this common question about autobiographical writings. It's interesting how Sanatana Goswami Path answered to that, to our relevant to our life right here. Are there any precedent for this kind of writing in Vaishnavism? Yes, there are many. Some example of sharing one's own story of spiritual evolution to encourage others on the path of spiritual evolution. For example, in Bhagavatam, we see Narad Muni shares his own story. You see in the first canto, there's a 2 chapter, 1.5, 1.6. Narad Muni is talking about his own teachings and own story about his life. In Mahabharata also we find Markandeya Rishi shares his story with Pandavas, Narada Muni, even Krishna himself. In Gauriya tradition, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wrote his own handwriting. Right now, Harisari Prabhu has those in the library. Salikito Jivani, a significant portion of which deals with his pre-devotional and non-devotional life. In ISKCON, Back to God and magazine, Srila Prabhupada encouraged devotees to share their stories in the feature, How I Came to Krishna Consciousness. These scriptural examples refer to great souls. Today's devotees are not on their level. Some of the Prabhus and mothers, we may feel like this. So how can the example of those souls be relevant? And those examples would be relevant scriptural precedents of neophyte devotees. That raises the obvious question, would scriptures record the example of some neophyte seeker who never rose to the level of becoming exalted? Everybody remembers that Prabhupada's story of Sanatana Goswami Pad, that how one Kashi Brahmana sent by Shiva in the dream to go to Sanatana Goswami Pad, and he came to get some money or to give his daughter's wedding. And Sanatana Goswami Pad shown him the touchstone where garbage supposed to be thrown, or garbage place in a sense on the bank, on the Jamuna. It was not a safeguarded place or anything, just a open trash can place. Where then question come, how come he was a neophyte? He was not even a devotee. He became a devotee later. And his story is recorded here. What about all of New Orleans devotees, Alachua devotees? Is their life is important? They may be neophyte. Yes, it is all important. The advanced devotee is too advanced to be an example for us. And the neophyte devotee is too neophyte to be an example for us. I mean, we think sometimes. Such an argument is a lose-lose discussion. Something like rigged toss. Heads I win, tails you lose. Does that sound reasonable? Well, scriptures cautions us against imitating great souls. That caution is primarily when those souls do something against standard scriptural moral or scriptural principle. You know, like Shiva drinking, what did he drink?
Milk.
Huh?
Milk.
Milk. No, poison.
Oh.
Krishna dancing with the gopis.
Oh.
But as a matter of general principle, scripture tells us that the behavior of a great soul is what we have to follow. Generally. Now, Prabhupada also mentioned there is one devotee from Africa who was imitating Haridas Thakur, and he's bringing Sanatana Goswami's reference that he should not imitate, and he fell down. This Prabhupada narrated this story about his own disciple who did not properly obey. Why I'm bringing this? The reason I'm trying to make this statement that each of you that participating in this should be appreciated and should be given a proper respect. Because we think unless scriptures gives us a specific caveat, warning against doing something the great souls have done, we can reasonably and safely consider scriptural precedent as example to be emulated. While emulating their example, we don't claim equality in spiritual stature with those great souls. We simply gain authorization for following in their footsteps. Hare Baba, while acknowledging that our footsteps are Lilliputian as compared to their giant footsteps. We should remember this, because these are wonderful, great associate of Mahaprabhu. We are talking about their teachings, contribution in our life. Like Mother Anuradha explained about the Raghunath Goswami, so wonderful. And those verses, I don't know if she's a Bengali, you can memorize those verses. Sthir hoiya ghare jao na ho batul krame krame payaluk bhavasindu kul. Mahaprabhu says, be patient and return home. Don't be crazy fellow. By and by you will be able to cross the ocean of material existence. That's how Mahaprabhu says. Then Mahaprabhu also further says, Antare nishta karo bhajya loko vyavahar, achirat Krishna tumay kariben uddhar. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, within your heart, you should keep yourself very faithful. But externally, you may behave like an ordinary man or woman. And this way, Krishna will soon be very pleased and deliver you from the clutches of Maya. This is how Raghunath Das Goswami exhibited this. Now, generally, I'm being honest to you, when I was thinking Raghunath Das Goswami many years back, I did not like his renunciation. It's like a too much. But I want to enjoy life. And Krishna was giving me so much facility. So how could I relate? Because there is a further explanation is required on those teachings. So then when I found it, that, oh, it is not really that we have to imitate Raghunath Das Goswami's renunciation. No, Mahaprabhu did not say that. Rather, Mahaprabhu says that we should act in a way in the community, in the society, wherever we are, that people respect. We are not crazy. We should not act like a crazy Hare Krishna or something. We should act like the way people expect us to act. Then how do we practice Krishna consciousness? Mahaprabhu says, Antare Nishta. Your firm conviction should be inside, not outside, showing people I'm a great devotee. Antare Nishta, Bhajya Loka Vyavahar, Achirat. And then Krishna will see that you are trying internally to be connected with him and serve him, love him. You will become advanced. This is a true story. In my own life, I see that. I used to get scared of Raghunath Das Goswami's renunciation. But that's not what Mahaprabhu advised. Mahaprabhu says you have to do properly. And then, of course, Raghunath Das Goswami, of course, achieved that way. Another example is given Gopinath and Paninath. Also, Mother Anuradha, she did a wonderful service. I hope she is listening. She did a wonderful service. But I love that that chapter, I believe chapter 9, Antalila, the Faultfinding, I call Faultfinding. Prabhupada or Mahaprabhu did not say Faultfinding. It's a text 152. It says whether or not one understands it. If one hears this pastime that she narrated, just by hearing this, what will happen? Concerning the activities of Gopinath, Patnayak and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu causeless mercy upon him. Certainly he will be promoted to the platform of Bhava Bhakti. Wow. Can you remember? Antulila chapter 9. If you just read it, you will evoke Bhava inside. Now you may say, is it really going to happen, Prabhu? I read it, it didn't happen. Well, who's supposed to experience? Me, I. You, who are you? The body or the mind or who? The soul? If you say I'm the soul, what is soul? A conscious being. Means you have to think what you hearing. Ear doesn't hear. Ear allows it to go through. But the perceiver has to assimilate, reflect, contemplate. That is hearing. Then you will evoke this bhava. So this is a beautiful. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said an ideal example for a person in the renounced order. If a sannyasi takes the side of a sense enjoyer, a person engaged in material activities, then what happened? If you see a sannyasi supporting a rich man, what do you think? You'll criticize. That sannyasi will be criticized. Because sannyasi's job is not to support a rich man. That's not job, at least. They can do whatever they want. But that's not, it will be criticized, Mahaprabhu says. A person in the renounced order should not take interest in any materialistic activities. Then how do you preach? This chapter gives this. And you did a wonderful service, Mother Anuradha, that you demonstrated this, that question comes, if everything is material in this world, then how sannyasi going to participate in that? They have to have a constant remembrance of Krishna, that this is Krishna's world. They have to connect that. Then they can perform this devotional service in the material world. He cannot do the service in the material world, but they have to see this Ishavaisyam idam sarvam jat kincha jagatam jagat tena tektena bhunjita magrit kashyashid dhanam. That Ishopanishad explained that Ishavaisyam, this whole material creation is mine and I control this. This Krishna is saying, I'm not saying myself. Krishna claims that he owns this material world and he controls this, then everything belongs to him, over him. In that mental attitude, you can engage the everything. But if you don't know how to connect, then you cannot serve. Intention of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Gambhira is one thing, but if one has faith in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet, he can understand these topics very clearly. Otherwise, not possible. This was the conclusion. And then the next one comes the service attitude, which also she has demonstrated of Govinda Prabhu, who was a personal servant. And I think there was a picture, no? That he was stepping over Mahaprabhu. So we can learn from this. Is Krishna, where is Krishna? He's everywhere, in the atom, in the heart, everywhere. So if he's in the atom, how many atoms in your body, in case? If he's in the atom, why Krishna has to say, I'm also in your heart? You know why? He's already in the atom. That means he's already in you. He doesn't have to say, I'm also in your heart. The reason he says, because he cares for you. He wants you to depend on him. He wants you to communicate with him. Loving. That's why mother said to the child, if you need me, just call me. The child knows the mother is here. Why she has to say that? Because she cares. And she wants the child to understand that I care for you as a mother. Similarly, Krishna says, I'm everywhere. I'm in the atom. But he also says, but still, I'm also in your heart. Heart means you thinking. When you need, you think. You are feeling, you have a feeling, you are aware. Krishna is there. So this is how it's wonderfully explained on this. The next comes Jagadananda Pandita. Jagadananda Pandita. It's a wonderful explanation that Jagadananda Pandita has a beautiful, many wonderful pastimes, considering it unbefitting for a sannyasi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu refused, as she mentioned the story of quilt and the pillow, and then also later on about the oil. Mahaprabhu says sannyasi should not have used all this nice bedding, nice oil on the hair. Well, Mahaprabhu had a shaven head. I don't know where the oil on the hair. Maybe the Sikha. Mahaprabhu generally, sannyas, I never saw any hair. Always see shaved head. So I don't know how, anyway, maybe in the Sikha, Mahaprabhu had the Sikha, so maybe the oil in the Sikha. So Mahaprabhu did not take. But Mahaprabhu exhibited such a wonderful that even he got angry. Why did he get angry? First of all, can you be angry with Krishna? Sure. When you have so much love, when you have so much affection, So Jagadananda Pandit exhibited this. Even all the contrary manifestation only arise due to the affection. What is in the affection? Affection causes possessiveness. When somebody loves you so much, what that person has? Possessiveness. Mother loves the child so much. Oh, it's my son. That possessive, mine, mamata. So this is Mahaprabhu was relating with Jagadananda. Then on the third day, when Jagadananda got disappointed that Mahaprabhu is not taking any service, he locked his door and he didn't eat, sleep, and just he's very depressed. Mahaprabhu knocked the door. He says, if you don't cook, I won't be able to eat. So he had to come out and cook. And then Mahaprabhu says, make sure Govinda, he eats on our prasadam. Mahaprabhu was reciprocating, such a wonderful pastimes those are. Then comes Raghunath Bhatta. So many. We are trying to squeeze all these great personalities. But she did a wonderful service. Raghunath Bhatta exhibited this, how to care for elderly parents and remain unmarried. Study Bhagavatam from a pure Vaishnava. After fulfilling all family duties, he returned to Jagannath Puri and became fully dedicated renunciate. And he finally went to Vrindavan to assist Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. Those are wonderful explanations given. There is no question of anything require further explanation. So I'm glad this. I'm going to go to the next session today. We discuss about past part. So everybody's okay. That about Chota Haridas. Chota Haridas, something is very relevant. And a lot of devotee, even some devotee texted me that it's confused. Why Mahaprabhu is so heavy with the minor. Did anybody ever felt that this is a minor case of Junior Haridas, but Mahaprabhu is so heavy? Well, there is a reason for it. So I'm going to give you something. We can meditate on it. We can purify our own heart. And this will help us. Because most of our progress is hindering, is challenged, is being stolen. Our wealth stolen by that lust or deep attachment to this world. How to understand this in Junior Haridas's life? I want everybody to remember this. If you cannot give Saitan, you know Saitan, the word Saitan, Satanic, in Muslim language they use the word Satanic, Satanic, even in English they use Satanic. If you don't give Satanic his due, please remember this, he will take more than his due. I was talking one time, one of devotee in New Orleans about this. What does that means? Means Satanic is envisioned in some tradition as a malefic. Began to tramps us towards wrongdoing, then trap us in distress. But beyond such religious usage, the word Satanic has gained mainstream currency. Troubled people, especially mentally troubled people. If you go to Middle East, you say, what do you think about this group? They'll say, oh, that's Satanic. They use that word. Satanic means a bad, evil, devil. So many bad words they use, they think. What does that mean? Satanic, if you have in your life, it will give you trouble, Prabhu, mothers. It will disturb your mind. You will be like, won't be able to have a peace. But this purport of Junior Haridas, Prabhupada is, I am bringing few references of Prabhupada's conversation with Vishnu Jan Swami. Every time I think of Junior Haridas, I think of Vishnu Jan Swami, because he's the one who asked the question to Prabhupada. What did you learn? The satanic can refer to the dark desire within us. Do you know dark desire within us? Yes, that delude, degrade us from spiritual path. To give the Satan his due means respectfully take the necessary protective measures against the temptation to which we are particularly vulnerable. I give you a practical example. One Ekadashi, I thought I'm not going to sleep. So I was chanting, trying to chant here whole night. Not showing off, I just wanted to give a try myself alone. And I tried, and next day I went to Mangalarti, and I'm pinching myself every time I fall, tired, almost falling asleep. I was like, not left. I'm thinking like I'm going to beat the system that I can live without sleeping. And guess what happened? On the second day, I just forced to take a nap. I was like not even aware that I'm taking nap. And it took straight 8 hours. And when I woke up, like, what this happened? How this happened? So my dear Prabhus and mothers, try to understand this. If you don't give Saitan's share to Satan, it will take. But when it takes more from you, that you will really go downward. But how this happened? So we learn from this from Junior Haridas and Prabhupada conversation with Vishnu Jan Swami. So what should we do? If we don't protect ourselves, we may get captivated and end up wasting hours, days, weeks, months, years, even lifetimes by deceiving us into such destructively disproportionate, you can say, dissolutedness. This Satan will take far more than his due. What does that mean? It means if you have a particular desire within you that you cannot get rid of it, take the spiritual path very seriously and purify that nature. Whatever that nature is. If you feel like to make money, go get a job or do some business. Don't just try to push it down, and you think it will go away. It does not go away. I suffered for that too. And I'm glad by the mercy, some or other pulled out, not myself, by the mercy and my endeavor. Of course, I had an endeavor also, not just mercy alone. So what I'm concluding, that sustainability solution is to focus our consciousness on all attractive divinity Krishna all the time. You force yourself to focus on Krishna. And our consciousness, when we focus on Krishna, such connection will give us a higher satisfaction, and that makes the sense of deprivation tolerable. Nonetheless, even if we are striving to connect with Krishna, we still need to stay aware that Satan's deadly might. If we become lax in either our sensual restraint or our spiritual redirection, Prabhus and mothers, you may get trapped. I say in a big stalwart devotees life. Junior Haridas is a good example. We can avoid such terrible trouble. How? If we learn from this incident to give the Satan his due by taking necessary efforts to guard ourselves. Everybody got it? You have to guard yourself. Otherwise, you'll fall for it. I do. I guard myself. Thought comes of anything I don't want, like sense enjoyment, this is, immediately you have to check by invoking Krishna. Otherwise, it will take you away, just like this Mataji says. One time in the class, he said, Prabhu, can you help me? I go to Facebook at 9:30, just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just to see what's going on, and I'll come out. And guess what happened? It's happened now almost 1 month. I'm missing Mangalarti because this 10 minutes taking 1 hour, 2 hours, and then I notice it's midnight. If I go to sleep, I won't be able to get up at 4. This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is we learned from Junior Haridas. He did not look at Madhavi Devi. He looked at the niece of Madhavi Devi with a lustful mood, and Mahaprabhu detected. Mahaprabhu rejected, just to teach us this. This is very important. I hope everybody learned from that. Okay. Then next comes Bhagavan, Acharya, and Bengali poet. This is regarding about 2 sloka. I can just tell you. If you remember, this is a Bengali sloka from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And did Mother Anuradha recited those verses? These are very nice. How do you know the conclusion of any scriptures or any doubt you have? How do you know the conclusion? In Bhagavan Acharya's case, Sarup Damodar quoted this. Gauranger Bhaktagane Nitya Kara Sangha. You can look at that verse. Gauranger Bhaktagane Nitya Kara Sangha Tabeta Janiva Siddhanta Samudra Taranga. If you associate with the sincere devotee, then you will know the conclusion of all scripture. All doubt will disappear. It's very simple. We hear, but you have to act. You have to really associate. Associate doesn't mean just to hang around. Associate means, yesterday I mentioned, somebody remember, or maybe day before yesterday, that association means if you see somebody has a better understanding on certain things, what we should do, Gopal Radhe Prabhu?
Accept from him or learn from him.
Little more. You have to
Or if he
appreciate.
is better than me,
Yes.
appreciate.
Yes. We should always remember this. Anybody has a better understanding on subject matter, certain thing, we should appreciate. If we don't appreciate naturally from our heart, this is not association. It will disappear after some time. Yeah, I remember, but I don't remember what happened because I never appreciated. This is very important to remember. This is what I learned from these topics. Now the key point, I'm going to end with this. I'm just going to merge Ramchandra Puri's everybody loves. Ramchandra Puri or Ishwar Puri? Which one? No, we love Ishwar Puri. I mean, Ramchandra Puri also respect. We're not talking about Ramchandra, we're talking about Ramchandra Puri. Mother Anuradha gave a very hammering, scary word, fault finding what happened. Well, guess what? Finding fault versus taking responsibility. What does that mean? If Ishwar Puri took the responsibility and Ramchandra Puri was finding fault in others, but both are the disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Oh, tomorrow is his birthday. Oh, tomorrow is the appearance of Madhavendra Puri. Congratulations. So, how to understand
disappearance day?
Disappearance day. Okay, thank you. Disappearance even more important than appearance. Because when Prabhupada appeared, nobody knew him. But when he disappeared, many millions, thousands of people knew him. So disappearance for a Vaishnava is greater than appearance. Because appearance nobody knows yet. How to understand this? I really want everybody to make a little note, Mother Anuradha also, that finding faults versus taking responsibility. Ishwar Puri was taking responsibility, Ramchandra Puri was finding fault. Both are the God brother, disciple of Madhavendra Puri. We are often responsible for things that are not our fault. It's true. Suppose while cleaning our house, we see from the window our neighbor's son is playing with a ball on their lawn. while following the ball, he runs out, it happens, true story, runs out of the lawn into the middle of the road. We realize the child is in danger, but we neglect it, continue with our work. A few moments later, we hear the screech of car braking violently and scream of that boy. I saw it. I mean, I didn't see it at that time. Right after that, I will see it. So I'll never forget. Alarm! Everybody rushed out. Find to our horror that a car has hit the boy. We are not legally culpable. Still, we would feel morally responsible. In this case, even the driver might not be culpable. The incident was just unfortunate. That you sometimes drive, you notice ever like all of a sudden some deer or something like, you didn't notice even just came and hit. I mean, other day even, what is that little armadillo in going to temple through the hip road, little jungle road. That's how I go every day morning. So, but what if one of our protagonists had ill intentions? If we saw a charitable friend walking down a high crime road, carrying a lot of money, if we knew that they are likely to be robbed, we might at least consider warning them, yes or no? Yeah. If they end up robbed, again, we would not be legally culpable, but we would feel morally what? Responsible. So what applies in these two situations? What applies to situation involving others getting victimized can also be applied to us. We may sometimes find ourselves victimized by situations that are not our fault. You ever faced like that? Sure. If we succumb to blaming, pitying, or mocking, we disempower ourselves and become captivated by an ignorant, self-defeating mentality. As long as we are focused on looking at whose fault it is, this person fell by the banana peel. Well, the person who ate the banana, throw it, it's his fault. No, the person actually, he should have looked at it when he stepped. Whose fault it is, let's find out. Okay. If we succumb of blaming, or pitying or mocking, what happened? Each of us disempower ourselves, isn't it? And becomes captivated by an ignorant, self-defeating mentality. As long as we are focused on looking at whose fault it is, we may end up disempowering ourselves. Because, why? That may not help us fix the situation. Instead, if we focus on taking responsibility, we empower ourselves. Even if in small ways to improve our circumstances, or at least our consciousness. Now, how did we come up with this? Well, what happened to Mahaprabhu? When Ramachandra Puri accused him eating sweet, sannyasi eating sweet. Of course, there was no sweet, but he saw the ants. So he accused. Now, what did Mahaprabhu do? Did he also find fault in Ramachandra Puri for pointing him fault? You know what he did? He took responsibility. Okay, he said, maybe sannyasi should not eat. Okay, from today, eating half from tomorrow. And he went down even. This is called responsibility. So that Ramachandra Puri could not say anymore anything. He left. And of course, everything became normal. So instead of finding, if somebody finds fault in me, instead of me finding fault in him back, what I do? I try to find fault in him. What is his fault? What is my fault? What is his fault? What is my 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 fault Oh, you found here because of this. Why not take responsibility? Then easy we can escape from this fault-finding nature by taking responsibility. This is important. What does that means? Please remember this. Just because something is not our fault does not mean we are not responsible. Can you remember this? Just because something is not our fault, that doesn't mean we are not responsible. So we should focus on accepting responsibility rather than finding fault. And this is what Mahaprabhu did. And this is what Mahaprabhu taught us. The last one is Pradyumna Mishra. I don't know. That's a lot of nice talking. Pradyumna Mishra. I'm just going to go to, because of the time, I'm going to go to conclusion. What I learned from today, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, wonderful expression I was reading. It's such a wonderful. See if I can find, if I can read it somewhere. Where I put it? Somewhere. There was my note. Okay. So I'm going to just remind you something. The conclusion that Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very nicely, I'm going to paraphrase, I cannot find it where it is, that how we should focus in our sadhana life. He says, wherever I am born, whether New Orleans, I mean, he didn't say New Orleans, but New Orleans or Alachua, it's according to my karma. We should always think like this. You follow? And I aspire only for your loving service. We should pray like this. Oh my Lord, I pray for unmotivated devotional service, not for anything else in return. The general temptation that surrounds us on our four sides is of four classes. You know what are the four classes? Money, followers, opposite sex, and liberation. That's scary. That means dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. In this way, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the gradation of different goals of life have been scientifically represented in the Veda. But this is Pancham Purushartha, fifth goal. So he prays, Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays, I'm paraphrasing, that my dear Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you all can fold your hand and say it also, or repeat with after me. My dear Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One of you can repeat so that I know that it's going on. My dear Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I have no attraction for any of these things, this dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but only for you, my Lord. I don't even aspire for liberation. I will not even ask, give me liberation for being liberated. I'm tired of this life. No, I will not ask like this. I'll never say I'm tired of this life. I will be able to serve you an atmosphere where I can serve you better. Please allow me to be there. Any way I can please you better, I want to be in that situation. Whether it's a hell or heaven, it doesn't matter. That sorts of condition must not be placed on divinity. We should remember. This is the purest of prayers. According to my karma, I may be bird or beast or human being, man or woman, even in hell, it does not matter. My whole aspiration is concentrated on one thing alone. You can fold your hand too. My dear Lord, I pray that my attraction for you may never be lost. I pray that it may always be enhanced, and please engage me in your devotional service. Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Okay. Mother Anuradha, you have done such a wonderful service. Tell me what you're taking today from this session. It could be from you or from me, doesn't matter.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for this opportunity. I learned a lot about the pastimes of the devotees and the different qualities. Like each devotee possesses different qualities that help them serve the Lord. From your lecture, I learned like we should all take responsibility and not blame other people.
Very good. Thank you. That's wonderful. I appreciate your presentation. And please keep on going. Anyone else? Or
Hare
we can
Krishna
close.
Prabhu.
Yeah, Gokul Gopal Prabhu.
Sorry, Hare Krishna Prabhu. It's me, Gokul Gopal Das. And I think I sent you a direct message, but maybe you didn't have opportunity to look. I'm going to talk about Anuradha. I think you might remember Anantashesh or Padmalochan.
Yes, I do.
Okay, Anuradha is the daughter of Anantashesh. He's my uncle, Anantashesh, and Anuradha is the only daughter of my uncle.
Oh my Lord.
So that's a lot late. I'm so sorry, and I'm so fortunate that I couldn't say that's my cousin because I'm not qualified or I'm not well known. So I will say, Anuradha, I'm lucky to have you as my cousin. So Prabhu, please bless her because she is whatever she is today is by her own endeavor. She born in a devotee family, but I lost my uncle a few years back, and you please bless her so she can finish her education and have a bright future and stay in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
I will pray for you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I don't know so much Anantashesh Prabhu, your dad or Mother Anuradha, after he became Grihastha. But I remember very well when he was a brahmachari. There was a time I can still see. He's a very slim, beautiful, handsome boy, beautiful nose and eyes and beautiful face in Mayapur. We were serving. I remember Anantashesh very well. But then he became Grihastha, he got married, and he has a wonderful daughter, you. Wow. Thank you. Next time I come, I'll definitely come and visit you. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. This is, I'm sure he's happy wherever he is right now. He's in Golok Vrindavan or some preaching program somewhere. Krishna sent him. I'm sure he's very proud.
Thank you, Proji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is my daughter, Minati Das. Radha, my daughter.
Oh, your Mother Anuradha is your daughter?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mother Minati Devi. Please accept my obeisances too. Wonderful. Your husband was a wonderful devotee. That means you are definitely a wonderful devotee. And I see the product of your devotion. His Mother Anuradha is genius. So keep giving her the spiritual guidance while she's going to finishing her school. You'll turn out a beautiful spiritual preacher, Krishna conscious preacher. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and you bless you. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So we can take one question. Maybe we have around 5-10 minutes. But if yes, Amrit Kanan Prabhu is raising hand. Yes, Amrit Kanan Prabhu is here today. Very well.
Amrit Kanan Prabhu, I'm so happy to see you.
I am also very happy, really happy to enjoy. I am really enjoying your class. In nutshell, you actually speak about a lot of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates, and Mother Anuradha actually give you maybe all this name maybe to speak. And Mother Anuradha's father, he was a very excellent devotee, he was so nice devotee and very dedicated, but unfortunately we lost him now. He was maybe almost like 40, less than maybe 40, I don't know. I forget a lot, like a couple years ago. And she is really good. Anuradha also can sing in harmonium. And she's very, very talented. A lot of
Very nice.
I really appreciate. Thank you.
Very
I have
nice.
one question about like you talk about a lot of questions, but I'll ask only one question maybe. The time Thakur Haridas was in Fulia, you talk about the snake, and the very venomous serpent was there in his cave, and people were worried to come to see him and talk with him. Then Haridas Thakur tell one time that the serpents go away. They cannot come to see me. And then the serpents listen to him. The serpents, huge, long, venomous serpents left from this cave. But then after that, one day, Mayadevi also came over there to test Haridas Thakur. Can you tell in brief these pastimes? I am just interesting to hear from you. I really like to hear.
Well, you know those pastimes, but since you're asking me, I'll try to say some word on this. You are also applying for sannyas. I hope everybody knows in your community. Well, I already said it, so I'm sorry.
Bless me. Your blessing only it is possible. You are a very pure devotee, and by your blessings, I need your blessings. I need the blessings of all the devotees from our communities and from everywhere. I need blessings of all the Vaishnavas. Very humbly,
Sure.
I need blessings.
Sure, me too. And we will pray and definitely we'll get the blessings. As far regarding this sannyas candidate, you know, there is a verse 16 chapter 1 that Prabhupada write, every sannyasi should have these three qualities. What's that? Abhayam satta samsuddhi Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. Jnana Yogena Vyavasthiti. Abhayam Satta Samsuddhi. If you are not fearless, if you don't, fearless comes from how? Depending on Krishna. That Upadrashta Anumanta Bhatta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmiti Chapi Ikti Dehasmin Purushapara. Krishna says Upadrashta Anumanta. It is me observing everything happening. I permit everything happening or not happening. Now, if everything happening by the sanction of Krishna, and if we are really holding that Krishna in our heart through our meditation, through our thinking, through our service, then fearlessness will come. And if fearless is not coming, we are not eligible for a sannyas. Sannyasi should be fearless. I should not say too much about David, but Prabhupada stayed in that house in New York, for 3 days. On the third night, David, middle of the night, with the kitchen knife, is showing Prabhupada and trying to scare him that he can kill with this knife. Well, Prabhupada didn't have a place to stay. It's early days when he started. Prabhupada was staying in different places just for survival. He didn't have money, he didn't have anything. So point is that Prabhupada was fearless. And in that purport, Prabhupada write, every sannyasi has to be. And in sannyas ministry, when they interview you, they will ask you, And that helped me a lot because I am focusing on that too. We want to be fearless. Not only sannyasi, every devotee should be fearless. Because without Krishna's sanction, you can sleep with cobra on the same bed. Cobra will not kill you if Krishna does not sanction. So we have to have a complete trust, faith on Krishna. And we should have always, and now question comes, how this will come? The next verse is says, Abhayam what's that? Abhayam Satta Samsuddhi. Satta Samsuddhi means everyday sadhan bhakti will purify us. Satta means existence. Satta. Samsuddhi, Suddhi, purification. Sadhan bhakti will purify our existence. If I am doing some nonsense, sinful activities, then automatically my existence will not be purified. I won't be able to do sadhana. I see within myself, when I was more attracted to making money and other things, even to get married, or the idea was there, and I could not be so pure within my heart. I could see that. I'm not saying I'm pure now, but at least I see that I don't have that. It's a mercy. So we have to become fearless. How do you fearless? How do you become fearless? Dependence on Krishna. We depend on Krishna. And Krishna says, Anumanta, without me nothing can happen to you, even blade of a grass. Then Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. We have to do also every day, must read Prabhupada books, must read our Acharya's book, must hear also. Reading is not enough. Hearing and also speaking. These three things is compulsory every day. Jnana Yoga Vyavasthiti. These three things. Perfect sadhana, depend on Krishna, and study and hear. Your life changes. Why can't I be honest? I feel very liberated in a sense, like free, like literally free. But of course, we are in this material world. Maya can trap us anytime. So we depend on Krishna means Maya will not trap. More we pray, then we will be free from that. So this is what I understand from this. But of course, after Haridas Thakur left home in what is a place called Burihan, he came to Benapur jungle, which after I think the pastime about to be described in what's called Lakkhahira, Besha's that Ramchandra Khan sent. The Maya Devi's pastimes, of course, let's first finish the snake. The snake, Haridas Thakur was not afraid. Haridas Thakur was never afraid of the snake. Snake was staying in the same cave as Haridas Thakur. But what disturbed Haridas Thakur, that when the people are coming to hear about Krishna Katha, but they were disturbed by the snake. Knowing that snake is there, it causes them fear. So then they approach Haridas Thakur and mention that we want to hear from you about Krishna, but we feel disturbed because of this snake, poisonous snake. So then Haridas Thakur was such an elevated soul, he could talk in snake language, I guess. He could translate, because otherwise how snake understood? Obviously he has the power. So he spoke in a normal language. He said, you live here, I live here, both has the same house, but your presence making all this audience not attracted to hear Krishna. So I have to go somewhere to talk to them about Krishna, or you leave from here so they can sit peacefully. When he mentioned that, the snake heard it, understood, and walked out. Not walked out, how do you say? Slithered out. Slither. Somewhere they could slithered out. So this is Haridas with the snake. As per Maya Devi, this Antolila is giving very nice. the prostitution and the Mayadevi, that you probably know those verses. Mayadasi bhik mange ite ki bishoy nam sadhu kripa nam binas premona janmoy. Something like that. Yeah, I think the correct verse. A long time back I read those. That previously Mayadevi, when she saw that Haridas Thakur could not be moved by this Lokko-hira, then she felt this is never happened. Vishwamitra is down, all this great stalwart is down. Who is this Haridas Thakur cannot be down? And Srila Prabhupada in one lecture, I'm not saying he bragged about it, but it appears like Prabhupada saying that Mahaprabhu is so great. Vishwamitra 60,000 years meditation broken by the little ankle bell of Manaka. And then Prabhupada, you can see his voice. But our Haridas Thakur is like, our Haridas Thakur did not move by Mahaprabhu's mercy. So the way Prabhupada said, wow, this is powerful. So Mayadevi paid attention that this is a serious case. You know, somebody is invading in my territory and actually completely proving that I have no power here. So she came to test it. That's one way to look at it. But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also gave an Anubhashya. He said actually Haridas Thakur, Mayadevi came to glorify Haridas Thakur. But she is the illusory personification. How the illusory will glorify a great Vaishnava? By putting the spell of illusion on him. So Mayadevi did not just come as a, she has a Pishachi form. I don't know if anybody knows what is Pishachi form. Pishachi is a very ugly, weird, wicked, what is that? When Indra was chased by this offense to the Brahmana, bishop, he killed Vitrasura, and there is a sinful reaction. Even though he's a devotee, he knows. And another time he killed his own guru, Vishwarupa, Tosta's son. So that time also the sinful personification. But if you look at the Bhagavatam, it says the sinful personification is Pishachi. Smells horrible wherever the Pishachi goes. Means that if somebody got hunted by Pishachi, that person will have a sickness. So she could have come any form, Mayadevi, but she did not come any form. She came as most attractive and tried to allure Haridas Thakur just to see, make sure that Lokko-hira did not miss something. But that at that time she proved, no, Haridas Thakur is a genuine divine personality. So that time she surrendered. And she said that her guru, her husband, Lord Shiva, he gave the Ram Nam mantra, that Ram Nam can only cross this material ocean. But Krishna mantra gives the love of Godhead of Radha Krishna. So that's why she quoted this. Maybe I'm missing one word in that verse, or maybe not. It says something like, Maya Devi bhik mange ite ki bishoy. What is the surprise of Maya Devi's begging for mercy? Sadhu kripa nam bina premana janmai. To get prema, you need the mercy of sadhu and the holy name. Holy name alone is not enough. It has to be the mercy of sadhu. Why? That question was explained by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Because holy name will not fructify unless the connection of Suddha Sattva is there. Suddha Sattva connection comes only from someone who is connected. Sattam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam Jadhayate Paman Apabritam. Satte cha tasmin Bhagavan Vasudev. When somebody is connected with Suddha Sattva, then he has a connection with the God. Why? There is no curtain. Now someone will say that how do we connect Suddha Sattva? Ask yourself, Mother Honorada also, examine your heart. Do you ever felt attraction? Oh, I love to hear. I want to hear more about Krishna. I want to hear more about Krishna. I like Krishna consciousness. When you have a deep craving for Krishna consciousness, to hear about Krishna, you are connecting Suddha Sattva. If you feel like, oh, class is over, now I can go to sleep, that's not Suddha Sattva connection. I'm not putting anybody down or anything, but I'm stating the philosophical fact. Everybody understanding that, right? When you feel that you want to be always connected, I want to hear more about Krishna, I want to hear, that means you are connecting with Suddha Sattva. If you feel like, Haribol, class is over, let's go to sleep, or let's have a big dinner or something, that is not Suddha Sattva connection. But that doesn't mean anything less. It's all there, whatever we heard, but we haven't not directly connecting yet Suddha Sattva. We are just process going. Because consciousness has to be purified. Nothing is lost. Like all these explanations Mother Honorada explained today, yesterday, no, not yesterday, day before yesterday was Mother, oh Krishna, what's her name?
Gaurangi.
Gaurangi. She was wonderfully explaining. Everybody was wonderfully explaining. Mother Brinda also wonderfully explaining. Mother Jishnu Prabhu was explaining. Mother Vishnu Priya also explained. It was all wonderful. Everybody, they have that natural tendency to explain and glorify Krishna. When they feel they cannot stop, they are connected with Suddha Sattva. So now you examine your own heart, where you are. When you are connected, then you are in that status where Maya Devi, you have no fear anymore. But that doesn't mean you don't pray to the Lord, you don't depend on the Lord. That's why I like Prabhupada, this is such a practical example. He demonstrated that I do not have a fear of falling down. Then one disciple, he said, Prabhupada, you are praying so much today. He said, yes. What you are praying? He said, I prayed to the Lord that to protect me from Maya. But Prabhupada, you said you will not fall down. He said, now you know why. Because I pray every day. I just love this explanation, the way Prabhupada demonstrated. If we keep on praying to the Lord, then we will not fall down. But we should not take a guarantee we will not fall down. No, we have to keep on praying. So Mayadevi's conclusion is that's without sadhu sangha and holy name, you will never get Krishna Prem. Thank you. This is wonderful. And the most elaborate, you can read the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, that part.
Thank you. I really appreciate you, Prabhuji, for your explanation. It's really, thank you so much. So nice explanation. Thank you.
Thank you, Amritakaran Prabhu. You are wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Here, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. We can end here. Thank you so much to all the devotees for attending. Though, we went a little over our time, but still, wonderful session we had. And especially learning about how Mahaprabhu appreciated and how he corrected certain devotees and all, and how this we can apply. Today actually is one of the most practical parts of Chaitanya Charitamrita that we can apply to our lives and we should learn from. So thank you very much to all the devotees for attending, as well as thank you to Pran Govinda Prabhu for giving us the fortune to hear from you discussing such wonderful Gaur Katha. And tomorrow we have the last day. So wonderfully we've been doing all Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we've covered of Antilila, and tomorrow is going to be the last part of Antilila. We'll be having a wonderful presentation by Her Grace Krishna Kanti Gopi Devidasi tomorrow in the evening. And also, Pran Govinda Prabhu has requested all the presenters who were there to be present tomorrow. And if 5 minutes each person can speak about how, what they felt making this and how their journey in making this presentation and how, their experience in this wonderful service. That'll be really, really nice tomorrow at the end of the session. And also we'll have little quiz at the end of the session on all the days that has been done. So we'll see how much essence we have caught, how many things we remember. So little quiz will be there. And so now our japa sessions also started. After this, following this, today's Ekadasi, very nice moment to chant the holy name. So very, very thankful to His Holiness Pran Govinda Prabhu for taking this time and speaking to us. He has back-to-back lectures. Right now where he is sitting is a place where he does every Wednesday classes. So today he did class 1 hour from 6 to 7 our time, and then again from 7 to 8, 9 o'clock almost now. It's almost 9 o'clock in Alachua. He's spoken with us. So thank you so much, Pran Govinda Prabhu, for your wonderful thing. And on Gaur Purnima day, for those devotees who were not able to attend all the classes, these were really, really nectarine jobs. And in 6 days, wonderfully, I did not know if we would ever be able to do, but in 6 days, we will be covering the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita in the essence. So all these videos will be on our ISKCON New Orleans channel on YouTube. ISKCON of New Orleans channel on YouTube, and we'll be publishing it on Gaur Purnima day. So some videos are up there, some will also come up, and you can watch them on YouTube. So thank you very much. So now I will
Let's chant one
yes,
Panchatattva and Hare Krishna Mahamantra before we end.
yes, Prabhu.
Raising hand. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. And I hope all these 6 or 7, I forgot. I hope they heard what Gopal Radhe Prabhu just made announcement. I am expecting each of you in 5 minutes give your essential key point of entire session of last 6 days. Be prepared. I'm looking forward to hear each of you.
Thank you, Prabhu. So now let us offer our humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who just like desire trees and fulfill all desires and are compassion to the fallen conditioned souls. Jai Vancha.
Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavebho Namo Nama Anantagari Vaishnavrinda ki jai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much. Now our japa session is also started. We can go to the japa session link and chant japa. Hare Krishna.
Hare